what's the new shit? Like whatever the new singy-songy auto-tuney shit is, right? And then please don't get me started on people doing fucking 80s songs, because I think that's just a horse shit ass idea of let's abandon rap and just do 80s ballads or whatever the fuck. And here's a good example. Remember, I always talk about this.
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box. Now while the angels fly over my headstone.
We are back with another episode of The Gods, our podcast with your boy Big Sorbavelli, back in a place to be, La Merca Superior Palace 81 Studios. We are live in effect, live and direct. It's your boy, Mr. 9 Times. Yeah, man. Today's mathematics, it is knowledge and build, destroy, all being born to born. So when we are using our knowledge to build positivity, we bring about positivity into existence, into our cipher, which is the people, places, and things around us. So never forget, when we are using our knowledge to build positivity, we are bringing about whatever that outcome is into existence. You bring about positivity using your knowledge, you're gonna get positivity. Now, if you are a fucking dumb fuck and you use your knowledge to destroy positivity, then you're gonna bring about negativity into existence. Peace. Today's drip check, we have the Griffey Air Griffey Max. I mean, bro, come on now. Come on, bro. I might have to do one of these for the one time. Know what I'm saying? Hit y'all with a fucking, not a 360, but a 180 or what, right? 360, 180, that's half? Yeah, man. Because I forgot, this is a freshwater and something else. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are 5 fucking somethings. I always forget what the fuck they are. The Gray Imperial Snowflake, you know what I'm saying? Look at that shit. I have no muscles, but fucking what is it? Snowflake tea. And then I have this, I think they said this is an Otani fucking Dodgers hat that I got in the FN, Mexico City, at the lids right there on the corner, by right where they had these fucking tacos that everyone swore up and fucking down that were bomb as fuck. I forgot what it's called, but it's like grounded ass meat. Like, I forgot, like puree or some shit. I don't know if you guys remember or you had this in school, but they were called like taco nazos or some shit like that. You know, the beef filling and shit. That's basically what these tacos were, and I was just eating this shit, and I was like, oh, God, no. I don't fucking like this shit at all, you know what I mean? It just wasn't my shit. That scared the fuck out of me right there. The sprinklers just went on. Thank God I already took care of the fucking, the pond and shit. I was wondering when these fuckers were gonna turn on, but holy moly, when I heard that shit, I was like, this is a fucking snake, bro. It's anaconda season and shit. And there's like hella water spilling over here. So I hope none of that shit is going to get on the camera. Doesn't look like it. I don't know why this shit's like a bunch of it spraying, like literally, bro. Like this shit's getting further and further the fuck over here. How the fuck does that work, bro? What the fuck? Why is it only coming like here? Like from this angle. But it's not coming like, what the fuck? That's the weird shit, bro. Anyway, what was I talking about? The hat, right? All right, so yeah, this is crazy because the fresh water, it's basically a blue green. It matches my car, so that's what I got it for. I have outfits like centered around certain things. Remember we were talking about my phone case and why it's like, to me it's a wine color, right? It's a purple, kind of like a deep purple, right? Berry, you would say, but it matched my jacket, right? When I got my jacket, it was wine colored, so I was like fucking, I bought the phone case for it. There's a lot of shits like that people don't even know why I get, like, I center outfits around certain things. Like I know, like, okay, like I'm gonna design a logo around this hat or another hat that I have and fucking build a fit around that, because that's just like, like how my brain works. I just like to match certain things, and that's where I'm at, where my creativity is like kind of like, I gotta have a specific outlet for my ideas, and not all of it has to do with music. I'm always gonna be musically inclined, make beats and all that shit, but I feel like the chamber that I get in with the clothes, I feel like is like kind of slept on, and I feel like I want people to see that. And right now it's real simple. Once I get enough money, bruh, I'm gonna fuck all of this off and start wearing fucking, Python trench coats and fucking those. Remember when Westside? All right, there's an episode. Maybe people don't know this is a real niche thing, but Westside Gun was on the Complex Sneakers podcast. Yes, Complex has a podcast just about sneakers that I didn't know until basically it fucking ended, or it's at least put on hold. Ever since Brendan Dunn went to StockX, and he's like a bigwig for StockX or something. The sneaker podcast, they're like, we don't know what the fuck to do anymore, which it makes sense because Brendan Dunn was a huge, vital personality on that show. And with Vandal, it's kind of like, it goes from it being like a real, a intricate podcast about sneaker culture to like, well, I'm just gonna wear what I want to wear, and it becomes more like less factual and historical and just more informative. It becomes less of that, and it becomes more like opinion based, which I don't really care. You know what I mean? We could talk bullshit all day long about how we feel about like sneakers, and it's no shots to him. Like, I really feel like, when it comes to a podcast, you really got to find personalities that match the podcast. Like, I've had people on my show that I felt like weren't like the best. Like, they're real cool people, not in front of a camera, but you put a camera in front of their face and it's like they're not the best to do a podcast with compared to other personalities. I'm not trying to shit on them. It's just some people, that's not their lane. I'm gonna give a good example because this is my brother. But NC, like, especially when we did the Zooms and shit, they were more like interviewee, and I told them that's not what I like. I don't want to interview anybody. I want to make it a show. I want the program to feel like, okay, this is how you're looking at me right now. You're sitting down and we're having a discussion. That's how I wanted to feel. I don't want it to feel like fucking, like, okay, so when you were 5, you started making beats, and you ever watch like Vlad interviews, and he won't even ask questions. He'll tell them what they did, and then it's like they either answer yes or no, and it backfires when they say yes because that's all they'll say, and then Vlad is just talking, or it becomes off disrespectful, and they're like, no, bro, like, what the fuck, like, no, I wasn't, so at the age of 16, you joined the neighborhood Crips, and it's like, and then they'll be like, no, like, that wasn't, like, what the fuck? And not only does it confuse them, but it confuses the audience. So I understand kind of like Vlad's trying to pull like certain information out of his guests and shit, but some of, my whole point is like some shows like Vlad or whatever the fuck, they don't come off like real warm. The vibe, they just come off like real interviewee. That's why his best videos are like Boosie, what's his name, Tony Yayo, Ari Spears, or from back in the day. Like I feel like his best interviews might have been like with Math Hoffa, Charlemagne the God. I can't really remember who else. Maybe like Mayer when it came to like the sneaker side, but they weren't interviews. They were like dudes talking. He was talking to whoever he was interviewing, and they had a discussion. You know, you had back-to-back hits with Matt Hoffa and Charlemagne the God. I can't really like think of Lord Jamar. He was another big one. You know what I mean? For the longest time, I can't remember if Joe Budden was on there. Joe Budden might have done like one. You know what I mean? Or like Fat Joe. Fat Joe had whatever. He's wearing a black shirt with a gold like chain cross. Like that was a really good episode. But for like beyond that shit, like I don't really give a fuck about interviewing nobody, right? So, you know, moving it forward, it's kind of like with NC, he's just not the best person to do a podcast with. There's no shots to him. You know, we have great discussions off camera, but it's just he don't really have that type of personality like I do, where it's like it's real entertaining and or humorous. It's like kind of what you see is what you get. And who's to say that's wrong, or who's to say like whatever, you know what I mean? I appreciate a lot of who people are on and off camera. I would say like, you know, there's people who are more camera shy, and that's cool. But going back to like the Complex thing, it's kind of like Vandal has only been on there like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, and then people are shitting on him right away. And he's kind of like, he's literally like in the worst position you could be, because you go from Brendan Dunn, who's probably the heart and soul of like passionate sneaker talk, to Vandal, who just comes off real like arrogant, you know, just kind of self-serving, you know what I mean? And it's not bad. It's just like their personalities don't mix on camera. You get what I mean? You had kind of like Matt Welty, who was more of like he pushed back on some of their topics when it was the original 3. You had Joe LaPuma, who kind of would be in the middle, not really say too much, but just kind of bring like, okay, like how do we feel about this? Make little jokes, but it worked perfectly because the main conversation would be between Brendan Dunn and Matt Welty. Brendan Dunn would kind of like have the more nerdy sneaker talk, and Matt Welty would kind of like be the antithesis of that and kind of challenge that, be the devil's advocate, and Joe would be in the middle. Now you take that out. Now you take Brendan out of that, and you add the fucking, who's this dude? The Vandal. Goddamn, is it Street Vandal? Well, whatever. You put Vandal in it, and it doesn't work because his whole shit is like, you know, I was in 06 wearing Kanye's or whatever the fuck. Like, you know what I mean? It's like there's the validity is there, the genuine love for the culture is there, but just the personality isn't. So it really kind of doesn't work. And they're probably the most boring episodes on the Complex Sneaker podcast. And it does not come off like a good dichotomy. If they could do this, would if they added Westside Gunn, or if they replaced Joe LaPuma with Westside Gunn, because at least Wes is kind of like Vandal in the same thing, where he has the validity, but he's entertaining, and it's just like he has so much charismatic character to him that it would just work. But, you know, that's just podcasting. A lot of people think this is just, I'm here talking shit, and that's really what it is in the fucking square root of it. But really, it's like, it takes a long fucking time to do this. I've been doing this over 300 episodes, you know what I mean? So for people, you know, who are feeling like, oh, like this is some easy shit, I could just put a camera on, and you can. It's just not going to be easy. And I've been doing it every week ever since, you know, 2021. We're coming up on the 5-year fucking anniversary in October. So it's like this shit is you know, it's work. And I try to give you all the best that I can. Try to, you know, and it evolved, right? Evolution, just like, you know, everyday life is like, I was telling NC this, like he was feeling, you know, like in his mind, I feel like, and don't quote me on this because I feel like this is just my opinion, right? I feel like that he felt like where he was in his production wasn't where he wanted in his mind. But I literally told him, look, as long as you're chipping at it every day, you're not going to see the progress. You're going to see it by the year, because you might not even see it by the month. And if you're lucky, you're going to see it in 6 months, but it's going to take you years to figure out where you like. It's going to take you years before you realize evolution. And that's where it is like progression as an artist. You're not going to be seeing these things every day. You know, the albums year by year, or the albums in a year that I do, they're kind of like all in the same. They live in like this fucking. They all live in this same sort of space, but they don't live in the same space as 2025. 2025, I gave y'all Bigger 9, fucking Greenlight 5. I think I feel like I did one more album. Oh, Mulberry. So maybe those were the flagship albums of that year, because I feel like I released more shit. Oh, what did we drop? 999. I feel like we dropped 999. Yeah, that last year. So I had 4 albums, but those were kind of like, you could see in that evolution where it goes, especially as soon as you get into Greenlight 6. The biggest, I feel like, comparisons you can make is Bigger 9 and Loteria. Very brash, aggressive, in your face, fuck you, I'm gonna rhyme, and it doesn't fucking matter. But to me, where I start to see the evolution is when I get to Greenlight 5, because that's where the more personal shit, it starts to bubble. And it's not even there. It starts to fucking bubble. But by the time we get a Mulberry, that's when the deep shit starts coming out. You know, you have the title track Mulberry, where I talk about a lot of heavy shit, and I don't think I've explained a lot of that EP, but that was real. You know, I was real emotional at that time. I wasn't even really going through like shit per se. Like in that moment, I think Mulberry I had to have done in like a couple months. A Rose Named Lily was on there. I kind of started recording it around July, and then I finished it in October, and then I think I released it in December or something. I don't even know, or November. I don't remember, right? But I only worked on it for like 3 months, and it was just short. You know, it was like beats I had already from like Greenlight 5 that I made like right after 5, that Mulberry was gonna be Greenlight 6, but like just doing it and making songs, it was more so like, okay, this ain't 6. I could just, like, in my heart, this isn't Greenlight 6, but it's real close to it. It's kind of like a spinoff of the Greenlight series, you know. So with the title track Mulberry, that was one of the things where it was super hard to write, because you have shit that, like, I'm still talking about having like suicidal thoughts, fucking my pops, you know, Jaime passing, Raul passing, you know, Jaime's fucking, you know, 14 years. It was, I think, what was it? At this point, it's Saturday, so it was 4 days ago, which was a Tuesday. But I'll never forget, they stamped him on the 14th, but I'll never forget he passed away Friday the 13th, because he passed away that night. But I guess by the time they put him in a hospital and the yada yadas, you know, it must have been like 12 in the morning or something. So it must have been really close to like the day before or whatever. So that's just one of the things where I feel like as an artist, I don't know what other people write about. I don't know where they pull from. I don't really care, you know, because I'm on my own journey musically. Everyone's on their own journey musically, right? And I'm not trying to say who's right and who's wrong, but for me, the best music that I feel like I can hear is when it comes from real life. It ain't all the lyrical miracle bullshit. That's cool. When you can rap about all these schemes and fucking topics and double entendres, and when you're a technical lyrical rapper, that's cool, right? That's real cool, right? Good for you. You're fucking number one. whatever, right? But when you could pull from real life and you could really say something that's kind of like hasn't been said before, and not even this, that once you just like live in your truth and you start putting yourself into the music, like who could fuck with you? I really got that from like Rock from Helter Skelter, where he told Sean P, he was like, once you put you into your music, can't nobody fuck with you because it's you, you know? So that's why it's not like I invent these slang words. It's just like, you know, I have my own lingo, my own slang or whatever. And it's not even like it's one of those things where it's not even a coastal thing. It's just shit that I come up with and people like there's a lot of people that, you know, are inspired by me, and that's fine, you know? Whether people want to give me credit or not, it doesn't matter to me because I know what I'm contributing to the world. Because I'm not a sole contributor that's not influenced, right? I take my influences from like a Makami, from a West Side Gun, from a fucking, you know, Retina. I take inspiration not just from like music, but like art and like whatever the fuck, you know, and shit that wrestling, you know, shit like that is just like, it's moving. I was watching this thing about the Dark Side of the Ring. They did the TNA shit, you know, with Jeff Jarrett and all that, and it was just really interesting to me, real inspiring, and I pull from that. But once I introduce it into my own world and I start like, okay, that's like what inspires me, but more of like I call it like filler, but it's not like filler, like B-side music. It's just more so like I could just write like boom, boom. It doesn't matter. The first shit that comes to my mind, I just write it down. Like the song I just did with Migs at the Mousetrap, like that shit wasn't nothing to me. I could have wrote 4 more of them fucking verses in that night. You know what I mean? It's just bars, like bars, punches, whatever. I hit you with rhymes and rhymes and rhymes. That's cool. But if I really wanted to sit down and tell you how the fuck I felt as a kid being alone in El Monte with my family that should have been taking care of me, they weren't taking care of me, they were getting high. I was scratching fucking the excess, you know, fucking lottery tickets that my tia had a fucking shitload of them on the table, and I would just scratch off the little fucking things that turn into dust. You know what I mean? Like that shit is like, it has to be like right place, right time, lightning in a bottle to describe the whole scene. You know what I mean? I could do it now because, you know, I could articulate that on a podcast, but to pull from that feeling, to listen to a beat, let's say NC, he'll send me a beat and it'll take me back to when I was a kid, right, in Baldwin Park or whatever. And I remember my tia and her German Shepherd, right? Rest in peace to Spike. You know, I remember when Spike was a puppy, and then I seen him grow into an old man, and then, you know, I saw him maybe like only a year or 2 before he passed away or something like that. And I was like, wow, you know, like when he passed away, when that dog passed away, it was like a piece of my childhood kind of like went with him, you know, because it was like fucking... that shit's just crazy, you know what I mean? Like you just think things are like last forever or whatever, and like they don't. And I remember I loved that dog. Spike was really cool. He was a really big German Shepherd. He was a big motherfucker. But what I'm trying to say is, NC will send me a beat that'll take me back to that, and I'll fucking just write a whole fucking banging ass song about him or whatever. And I might do a R.I.P. like Spike song at some point. Because just thinking about him got me, like, all emotional and shit. Just because, like, you know, I'll never forget eating fucking either, like, I don't remember, like, Domino's. Like, Domino's, I think, was the more thing, like, with my tia. You know, the big old avocado tree in the front yard. Playing GTA San Andreas or, like, Pac-Man. Or having the fucking, you know, I would borrow my pops' old, remember the Motorola Razors? You know what I mean? Like, just shit like that. I remember, like, you know, those times or whatever. And I feel like a lot of rappers put too much emphasis on kind of, like, the surface level shit. Like, like whether they be battle bars, like, you know, I was poor and fucking you weren't. You know, I had one pair of one fucking pair of shirt. I had one pair of jeans and one short. You know what I mean? I had one shirt for like a year or whatever, and you know what I mean? Like, it comes off like they didn't really get into like the what, when, how, why, how it felt, the scenery, all that shit. Like, I get it down to like the time, the weather, the fucking just the imagery, the details. Like, you got to really convince me like through your fucking persuasive language in your writing. Because if you're just going to write like basic shit, then you're just no different from every other generic rapper out there. And I feel like as an artist, you got to be aware of that. Like where you're writing, where you are with your writing. Because I'll fucking... Like me, like, okay, so the song Mulberry, the way I came up with that, I had that beat and I literally didn't even... I was like, this isn't... I don't like this. Like, this is just so fucking basic to me. It's just a fucking loop. It's looping and looping and looping and looping and looping. You know what I mean? Who the fuck is gonna listen to that shit, right? And here's the thing with beats. I hate beats that got too much shit going on in it. You know, like it switches up and it's like fucking, like for the entirety of 8 bars, it's different chops and different. So like when I'm listening, I'm like, well, this is taking me away from the lyrics for the production. And I feel like a lot of rappers, they lean on that. That's like their crutch. They're like, as long as I get a fucking crazy ass beat, whatever I write's gonna sound good, which is fine. But it's gonna take away the listener from the writing, from what you're trying to say, you know? So with the Mulberry song, it's just a fucking simple ass, some simple shit, right? I was walking through fucking South Central, not like that, but I used to walk through South Central. Now I'm not walking anymore. Obviously, I gained weight and I'm fucking fat again. But not that really I was that skinny before. But I'm just saying, like, you know, my back is improving. Just give y'all an update. Just pause on everything. My back is improving. You know, I got a scheduled follow up with the fucking doctor. But I'm doing good out here. I went on a little walk with Presley. I might go on a walk. I don't know. It's going to be like the next 2 days. So let me see if I could walk. I'll walk before. We'll see what's popping with that. I don't know. But anyway, going back to Mulberry, just literally I wrote that song walking. I walked through the fucking, you know, I did my walk and I wrote it. And whatever I wrote right there was what I wrote, and that's what became Mulberry, you know. And that's why it kind of sounds more like, they sound more like, that song sounds like just a bunch of thoughts. There's no beginning, middle, and end. There's really no, it's like it ain't a song. It's more like a fucking journal entry, you know? And that's not even like, it wasn't intentional, you know? I forgot how that song fucking goes. I just got water all over myself. I just remember, you know, the day my life changed, I was tripping off shrooms in the high days, looking through the sky maze, my mind like a maze, you know, whatever the fuck I said. You a bitch for your blood, you wouldn't ride. Broke Levi's be the shook type, hype dying down some. I just want my pops to be proud of his son. You know what I mean? Like, there's just shit like that. It's just literally like how I'm feeling. It's not even like, you know, like a lot of people... I see a bunch of this bullshit on Instagram where it's like these rappers that are just starting out and they're posting their fucking first songs. And it's like you're putting your infancy, you're like a fetus, bro. Your first song is literally like, it might not even, your first song is literally you as a fetus. You know what I mean? And it just grows, like... It just grows from there, but I can't. Everyone's different, right? So out the gate, you're not good. As opposed to if you stick with it and you keep going, right? I can't even really think of any rappers I don't even think there's any rappers like me. For a lot of rappers that I feel like that have been doing this shit around my age, that were rapping around the same time, fucking completely dropped out of their sound and went to some different shit. Versus me, I feel like I'm kind of back to where I started. In the beginning, I rapped about being fucking depressed, sad, fucking being suicidal. And then somewhere along the line, I started rapping about street shit, you know, and now it's kind of like going back to that. And then now it's kind of like mixing, you know what I mean? But other people, it's like they're rapping about, they drop their sound off and now they're doing like trap, they're doing fucking experimental, or they're doing the what's the new shit, like whatever the new singy songy auto-tuney shit is, right? And then please don't get me started on people doing fucking 80s songs, because I think that's just a horse shit ass idea of let's abandon rap and just do 80s ballads or whatever the fuck. And here's a good example. Remember, I always talk about this. People giving the drumless or the king of the underground shit, the godfather of underground rap right now, to Rock Marciano. My argument is he had to follow West Side Gun. No one was following Rock. So to me, it ain't about the originator, it's about the innovator. So if Rock Marciano, like, look, all right, so before West Side Gun, I think right before West Side Gun dropped Fly God, I think Rock's album was Merci Beaucoup. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was like 2013, maybe 14. He had Empire Strikes Back, right? Completely different from Rosebud's Revenge. Why? Because the Griselda wave was so fucking strong, especially at that point. And Rock couldn't have picked a better time to release that album. But in my opinion, he got around the Griselda guys. And even in the beginning, when you listen to shit like Rex Ryan, or he has another song, Rex Ryan, and some other shit he did with them, right? But it wasn't it was Omar's Coming off of Fly God, and then Rex Ryan was on Reject 2. But you hear Rock and he's already like he's not where he was on Rosebud's Revenge, right? I say that to say, going back to the Phoenix Flex and shit, people want to say, oh, why are we giving the 80s shit to Phoenix? You know, Tory Lanez was the first one. No, The Weeknd was and it's like, no, bro. Nobody, this 80s bullshit thing didn't get on fire until Phoenix came through with the Rubbers song. Yeah, he might have not have been the originator, but he fucking set the whole, like, I didn't even know Tory Lanez was still making music. I thought he was getting locked up, getting fucking cut up for his fucking, noodles or whatever. Like, I'm not trying to make a joke out of it, but I'm just, that this is where the fuck I thought where his shit was. And if it works for Phoenix, it works for Phoenix. It's not going to work for everybody else, So the fact that I understand it, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of artists out there that want to try new things, and I get it, and it's fine. But if you do that shit too much, you become like, who's the dude from Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr., his character, where he, I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Like, that's all you become, because you're jumping in and out of the lanes, and your progression kind of slows down if it don't restart. You want to do a 90s boom bap, then you want to do a 2000s crunk, then you want to do country, then you want to do EDM, then you want to do drill, polka, heavy metal, screamo. I get it. As an artist, you want to fucking explore your sound and try new things. But I feel like when you play into your strengths, it's easy. I don't know, man. I just feel like just do what works for you. How about that, right? But I guarantee you this shit ain't gonna happen soon. It's gonna happen later than sooner. You're not gonna fucking make And I'll give an example like Looney. He was talking to me. He wants to make a rock album. That's fine. That's great. I love rock music. Check this out. I'm never gonna make a rock album because fucking I'm gonna blow my vocal cords out. And if I do 13 songs in 6 hours and I already feel like I lost my voice, I'm not gonna do that for a fucking rock album. You know. That's not my lane. I love rock music, but I'll never try to imitate it because that's number one, not where my passion is, and number two, that's not where I feel like. Not even that I'm most comfortable in my lane, but I just feel like in me, where I'm at in my artistry, that it just wouldn't make sense, right? I don't have a band. I don't know nobody. Like, I literally know one of my homies that's in a band, right? And I've been telling him, like, for a year now, like, oh, like, I want to sample. Like, I want you to play some instruments. And he's down and shit. It's just really, like, on me, you know? Like, I'm a very busy man. But if I wanted to, I could just go for a day and sample. We get in the studio and I'll dedicate fucking literally a whole day to just sample him playing bass, guitar, drums, whatever the fuck, right? And get it popping from there. But I wouldn't make a rock album. I would make, you know, some hip hop shit. I would fucking record in some sounds, send him to NC, have him see where he wants to go from there, you know? So, you know, I just feel like as an artist, you gotta be aware of some of the things that you're doing and not totally rely on new things. You know, it's very challenging when you're just kind of like directionless and you don't really have a endpoint. You don't have to have one, but it's just easier to know where you want to go. And you're not going to figure that out until you keep doing it. You know, if you just want to make music, that's fine. But if you do want to achieve some things, do the knowledge and find out if what you're doing is conducive to that. Because if I wanted to be the most successful nu metal artist or whatever, I'm not doing a good job of getting there at all because I'm rapping. And I'm rapping over fucking beats. Hip hop beats, right? You get what I mean? Is this making sense to some people? You got to be aware of that. You know, there's a lot of things that I talk about on the show. We could bullshit or whatever, but you know, there's a lot of artists that I feel like if I could bring about, like, if I could spit how I feel and like my perspective on it, because like I always say, man, I've been rapping for 11 years and I'm going to go on 12 years producing in November, right? And that's every day. Like I was telling Psych on the last episode, like I feel like as long as you're chipping at it and you're fucking every day, you're like, okay, fucking, you're thinking about it, trying to get better, and you don't lose sight of your artistry, you'll never go wrong no matter how long it takes, you know? I've said this before, like if I've been rapping 10 years and I've gotten like, you know, just a couple likes on Instagram and a couple hundred plays versus, you know, you get some 13-year-old kid who fucking out the gate, his first song makes him a millionaire. Well, who's fucking wrong? You know, if I'm rapping 10 years, I should have been the one to fucking crack that code already, right? I should have 10 million. If this kid could make $1 million a year, why can't I have 10? But that's not the way the world fucking works. And that's not everybody's journey. And I feel like it's a blessing to kind of grow through those fucking obstacles in those years, because they will all shape you into who you are, regardless if you're successful or not. Because on some Ka shit, are you gonna be doing this hip hop shit when it's not cool? When people stop saying, "Hey, that shit was dope." Can you live without the validation of other people? Because if you can, you might as well just not do this shit no more, and fucking, you know, not quit your day job. Because I live without validation. I stopped showing like my coworkers my music and stuff because it means more to me than it means to them. So fuck them if they can't fucking see it the way I see it. That's just how I feel. That's just the way I see it. You know, why would I show my music to people that just don't even have the same, you know? Migs will fucking listen to my shit, and he's probably, you know, Migs is probably the only artist I feel like that gets it. And NC, maybe they're two, right? I think 30 just really likes me as a rapper, but I don't think he understands, or maybe, you know, I'll take that back. Like, we haven't had a discussion about my music and shit like that, because I'm not going around, hey, did you listen to my album? I'm not fucking texting people and hey, man, like, share, comment, support. What do you think? Give me a fucking album review. Like, I'm not begging for nobody to listen to my shit. It's like, listen to it if you're not, or if you want or not. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to keep, like, I need to make music. I don't fucking need nobody's validation. So I'm not going to show nobody's music. Like, I know Migs appreciates my music. I sent him Green Light 6 before, you know, a couple days before it came out. But I'm not going to ask him, what do you think? How do you feel? If he brings it up, then I'll be like, okay, what's your favorite song or whatever the fuck. But I'm not seeking out validation from anybody, because it's not about how you feel about my music. It's about how I feel about my music. And the way I feel about it is I'm the best at what the fuck I do, because can't nobody do what I do, you know? And that's the beauty about being, you know, an artist, is can't nobody do what you do. So to try to compare to yourself to someone else is robbing you literally of your happiness, number one, but number two, also your freedom, you know, all that shit. Just, you know, comparison is the thief of joy. So don't even fucking do that. You know, I look at other artists and I'm like, yeah, you know what? He might got a better song. He might got some better dance moves. He might got even better hooks or bars or whatever bullshit. But he ain't fucking with me on this shit. I wholeheartedly believe I'll smoke anybody. I don't give a fuck who it is, bro. You know? Now, is everyone going to agree? Of course not. But you know what? I still have that hunger in my heart, and I wholeheartedly believe that, like, can't nobody fuck with me. Because I'm not looking for anybody to pat me on the back, tell me, wow, you know, Big Serves, man, fucking we love you. You're the fucking best. You're holding it down for the culture. Da 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 da. You know, when you when you have those expectations, when you want people to kind of like suck your dick in that manner, you're gonna be devastated, because 90% of people don't give a fuck about your music. Guarantee you. The hardest shit for me was like accepting that from like my family. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, these are my family, these are my cousins, these are my parents, my sister. And they're like, I don't even want to tell them about the shows I'm doing, the shit that I'm got releasing, my clothes, none of that shit. Because I feel like none of them understand. That was like the hardest thing. That was like, I would show my sister my songs and she'd be like, I don't get it. Like, or like the beats, like she'd be like, I don't like, what would you rap over this? You know? And then I show her the song and she'd be like, I literally had no idea like you would like rap like this over this type of beat. You know what I mean? So you can't try to see people what you see. You can't make people see through your eyes. You can't make nobody do that shit. You just gotta fucking find the right people that see your vision. And if people don't see your vision, then fuck them, bro. Get the fuck away. Get from around them. They're not doing you any favors. And on the flip side too, don't be around people that are just gonna go with everything you say. You gotta find a middle ground. You gotta find people like Mufasa. Like he wanted, like when I brought him home, he wanted to fucking listen to what the fuck I had, and he was making suggestions and stuff. And I was like, well, this is great and all that, but I'm not gonna go back and change the song. You know, he wanted to listen to my new shit. He gave me some pointers, but I was like, I appreciate it, but had you told me this in the studio while I was writing, it would have been different. But he already knows I'm hard-headed. He knows that had he told me while I was writing, I'd been like, no, get the fuck out of here. some of the worst songs, I've taken verses off of like our early shit together, and just made them solo tracks for him, or if they were features for him that had me on it, or features I did for him, I just cut them off because I'm like, this is horrible. Like, he's so fucking like smooth gangster style with it, and I was real Germanic and aggressive, and just, you know, our styles at that point didn't mesh. But like, you know, you couldn't tell me shit then, and you really can't tell me shit now. I'm kind of more open to constructive criticism now, but I still feel like I'm the same, where I just don't care. Like, I'm just like, or maybe I will see some shit and I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll take it into consideration. But back then, you couldn't tell me shit. And as an artist, you know, you gotta be okay with doing the shit on your own, regardless of how people feel. You just gotta have like your own self-reassurance and be like, okay, like either their points are valid or they're not valid. You know what I mean? So I guess the message of the day is trust yourself, trust your instincts, trust your own compass in life. You know what I mean? If you genuinely feel like you shouldn't take someone's advice, then don't. Or if you feel like you should, then do it. You know? Growing up, I had to learn the hard way about a lot of things, you know, to the point where it's like, okay, like now I trust, but then I gather like empirical data, shit that I've been through, and weigh it against opinions or like different shit. You know what I mean? It could be simple as, you know, like there's a lot of hearsay. So it's like, should I fucking save my money and buy a fucking PlayStation because everyone else is telling me like they like this video game is good, so I should buy it? But I'm like, nah, like I'm not even gonna play video games, so why the fuck, like why would I buy some shit just to like fucking say like I got it or whatever, you know what I mean? That's a pretty bad example, but you get what I mean. It's like, trust yourself to be like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Why? Because these fools are doing it? Oh, why would I care about this fool's opinion? Like, so what? Like, you think that like, oh, you know, your fucking music is whack, that's why you fucking haven't blown up. And it's like, fuck you. Who the fuck are you, bro? You're the assistant manager at Dairy Queen, bruh. Go ahead and scoop some ice cream and put sprinkles on that shit while you go fuck yourself. I don't care. Because whatever I'm doing works for me, and I love it. While you're putting extra Oreo crumbs on some fucking 6-year-old's little cup of fucking, you know, dairy or whatever. So trust yourself. That's the message of the day. This is the God's Hour.
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now, while the angels fly over my headstone.